We'll be going over what the IRS website says about taxes for deceased persons. So we're on the specific page on the IRS website where it talks about deceased person tax issues, whether you're the surviving spouse, the executor, the administrator of an estate, or a legal representative. You may have a lot of responsibilities. So they break them down into filing final tax returns, estate administrator responsibilities, selling the property of a deceased person and any identity theft issues that may come up, estate tax, and then forms and publications. So we'll circle back to the tax returns because that is the most frequently asked question that I receive is how to properly go through a deceased person's taxes. There's also a link to a page if you need to better understand the responsibilities of an estate administrator. If you need to sell either real estate that belong to the deceased person, and then if there are any identity theft issues related, then you can get tips on how to reduce. So let's go to that real quick. We'll talk about what you can do to get to reduce the risk of identity theft for a deceased person. So generally speaking, file the final tax return when due. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Send all three of the credit reporting bureaus a copy of their death certificate, and then have them put a deceased alert on credit reports. And finally, don't put too much information in the obituary or online memorial pages because identity thieves are pretty good at social engineering, and they'll take any publicly available information and they'll piece together information from various websites or sources to get even more in-depth information that they can use to steal a deceased person's identity. So don't let that happen to you. So let's go back to this. There's also kind of a walkthrough on the estate tax based on the value of the assets. Again, if you don't meet the filing threshold, and the vast majority of taxpayers are well below the threshold for filing an estate tax return, you might not need to. And then at the bottom of the page, there's links to different forms of publications. And we'll put links to some of these in the show notes. So if you need to notify the IRS about a fiduciary relationship, you would file IRS Form 56. If you need to claim a refund that's due to a deceased taxpayer, that would be on IRS Form 1310. And then a request for a prompt assessment under IRC Section 6501. I'm going to take a quick peek at that one simply because this is not the most frequent tax form. But basically, the purpose of this form is to not draw out the process. So you file a tax return, and then you can request a prompt assessment of that tax. So that might be important for people that want to quickly wrap up the estate. So just a brief overview. So what we're going to do, again, the most frequently asked question is, how do I file a tax return? There's a link right here. So generally speaking, you would file the tax return the same way you would if the deceased person were alive. You report all the income up to the date of death. You claim all credits and deductions. If they did not file the return for the years prior to their death, the surviving spouse, the estate representative, the representative of their estate may have to do that. And then as well as paying taxes due or submitting refund claims, that would all fall into place. A couple of other things that you should consider doing is also requesting a tax return transcript for prior tax years. Again, most people don't know what's going on in a deceased person's world until they start getting down into it. But this would be a good way for you to better understand whether or not you need to address any back tax issues, pay taxes that are owed, as part of settling the estate. And then on the flip side, if there is a refund due, then you could also claim IRS Form 1310, which would request that refund and then request status on it or direct it to be applied to the decedent's estate. There's also an estate income tax return link if you need to, proof of claim in a probate proceeding, and then requesting their information from the IRS, tax returns, tax transcripts, payoffs, change in information, and so on. So there are a lot of good information links here from this one page, irs.gov/individuals/deceased-person. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes, as well as links to resources we've created about the forms mentioned here. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, or if there's another topic that you'd like to see in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comments section. Thank you very much and have a great day.